we'll be just seeing how can we about all the HTML images and how can we add them and how can we use them in the HTML. So images can improve the design and the appearance of the web page. So we have seen few of them in these examples and we have used them in few of the times. We do have this source and the alternative text attributes with associated with this image tag. So basically, we know that the HTML image tag is used to embed an image in the web page. So images are not technically inserted into the web page. So images are linked to web pages. The image tag creates a holding space for the referenced image. And the image tag is empty, and we know that it only contains the attributes like source and alternative text. So it is also self closing. It is not having any closing tag and it's self closing tag. And it has source and alternative text attribute. So we'll have a little bit talk about this source attribute. So this source attribute specifies the path URL to the image. When the web page loads, and it is the browser at that moment that is getting the image from the web server and it is inserting into the page. Therefore, you just need to make sure that the image actually stays in the same spot in the relation to the web page. Otherwise your visitors will get broken link icon, and the broken link icon and the alternative text as shown, um, if the browser cannot find the image, because it's something like that, it's not completely onto your page, so it has been linked from some other source. So when that particular source, in that particular source, if the image has been deleted or it has been changed, so when the browser is trying to get the image, so the users will get some broken error. And now we'll speak a little bit about this alt attribute, the alternative text attribute. So the alternative text attribute provides an alternative text for an image. If the user for some reason cannot view it because of slow internet connection or an error in the source attribute, or if the user uses a screen recorder, so the value of alternative text should be able to describe the image even the image is not able to see. The alternative text should be such that it should be describing the image as good as possible. And if the browser cannot find an image, it will display the value of alternative text attribute, so this one. And thing is that people might think about what are the screen readers. So as we tell that this alternative text will be also be used when the people some person is using the screen reader. So the screen reader is a software program that reads the HTML code and allows the user to listen to the content. Screen recorders are useful for people who are visually impaired and learning disabled. So for such kind of people, they use this screen recorders to hear the content. So there, this alternative text will play a very good role for them understanding what all are in this web page. And then the next comes the image size, that are width and height. So we have two ways to get this to specify this width and height. The one is through style. So here you can see the style. In the style we are giving this width and height in pixels, or else we are giving the attributes called as width and height, and these are also specified in pixels. The point to be noted is, be it in the style or be it in the direct attributes method, the pixels are given in the width and height are given in pixels only. And then uh, the which one we need to use, like should we use this attributes directly or should we use with style? It is recommendable and suggestible to use this through the style attribute, because it will prevent the style sheets from changing the size of images. So it's most preferable to go with the style attribute to get your to specify your width and height of the image. Let's say you want to get an image from another folder. So how can you do this? You can do that simply by just going to your just giving this image, start this image tag, and in the source you need to give the path. If at all your folder is having some subfolder, and in that subfolder you are having your image, you can even you have to even specify that subfolder. So let's say I'm just giving the path to be my images, and here in the my images I'm having my picture, so I just say abc.png or jpg, anything like whatever extension it is. And if the images are on another server or website, you know how can we do that? We can just get the link and we can just paste it over in the source, and we can get this image on our site. So one note on the external images that you take from another servers or another websites is external images might be under copyright. So if you do not get the permission to use it, you may be in violation of copyright laws. And in addition to that, you cannot control the external images because they can be changed or removed suddenly by the owner of the image. So just be cautious about that, like be if you are enough confident that about the image, use them. And then now we'll see about the animated images. We can add this animated images which are also known as gifs. We can just do that by let me just remove this, and I'll be giving yeah. So in the source, let's say my animated image name is program.gif, and in the alternative text I would give some uh, coding 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 man. So this is my alternative text, and in the styling I could give this width and height of this. So in this way you can add this animated images. And the next one is image as a link. How can you use this image as a link? We have already seen this. We have embedded by just embedding this image in the link, in the a tag, we have made our image to be a link. So I'll just remove this too. I have just shown this for your understanding. And then the floating images. So the floating property, we use the css float property to let the image float on the right or to the left of the text. We'll quickly see how can we do that. So we'll consider one of the image. So this image, say this in image, and in this image what we do is we after giving the width, height, we even give firstly, let's give the styling here itself for this. So we'll start the style attribute, and in the style attribute, let's give our width width to be some around 42 pixels, and also the height to be 42 pixels. And then we'll be adding the float attribute, float property to be we'll make it to be floating in the right side. So we'll just give the, to be right. And here now let's give some text. So my text would be something like, I will float on the right, on the right of the text. So let's say, so this is my text, and I'll make it like, I'll embed this image, I'll nest this image inside a paragraph tag, and I'll end my paragraph tag here. So let me just save this and see what all it does to my displaying web page. And here you can see I will. So you can just see that we have the text here, and we just got this image floating on the right side of this. I have just changed somehow, so I have changed it to right side. And let's give the left, and let's see what it gives us in the web page. So let me just, so you can see that it is on left side of the text. Okay, I'll just change the text to left side, and then save this, and then let's reload this and see. You can see that this is floating on the left side of this text. So this is how this image floating is working. And in this way you can add the images to your web pages. And now we have discussed about the image tag, and we had a talk about the source attribute, alternative text attribute, and usage of width, height in this HTML, and the properties in the CSS also. And we have learned about this float property in the CSS. So we can use this background image on the HTML element. How can we use this background image? We can do that by using the property called as background image in the style. So I'll just show you how can we do that. Let me add some division. Style equals to background image. So background image, and the image can be this. So I can give my image to be the image name, like let's say it's image.png, and I'll close this. So in this way you can even add the background images to your background image styling to your elements. So usually we can even declare this in the we can even give specify this in the head section by just giving the style tag, or else by using the style attribute. So if we want to give this background image on the page, we can use this style attribute, like this complete thing on here in the body. If you give this styling to the body, then you will get it all as the background image to whole page. So let me also show you that if the background image is smaller than the element, the image will repeat itself like horizontally and vertically until it reaches the end of the element. So how can we avoid that? We can avoid that by you can just go here and then give some background repeat property, and in the background repeat property give it as no repeat. So by this we can just avoid this kind of repeating of the image. And if you want the background image to cover the entire element, you can set the background size property to cover. If you want all of your image to cover the element completely, you can choose this one. So I'll show you this. It's background attachment, background size. So background size will be set to cover. And then, and also to make sure that entire element is always covered, we need to keep set the background attachment property to fixed. Background attachment property to fixed. So by in this way the background image will cover the entire element with no stretching. That is that the image will keep its original proportions. So by doing this we can achieve this entire element getting covered. And what is the background stretch? If you want the background image to stretch to fit into the entire element, you can set this background size property to 100%. Let me just show you. So 100% and 100%. And by just doing this you can just uh, uh, give this background image to stretch if to fit into this entire element. And you can try resizing the browser window and you will see that the image will stretch but always cover the entire element. So in this way you can use this property also. And then we'll also see about the picture element. In the HTML we have this element, so I'll just remove this. So we'll have this element called as picture. So this picture element allows you to display different pictures from different devices or screen sizes. Um, so this HTML picture element gives web developer more flexibility in specifying the image resources. The picture element contains one or more source elements, each referring to different images through source set. So it is having an attribute called as source set attribute, so which will be specifying images, one or more images from the source element. So in this way browser can choose the image that fits into the current view or the device. So based upon this all the images and the device, the browser will choose one image. Browser can choose the images from them, and each source element has a media attribute that defines when the image is most suitable. So we'll just see an example how can we use this. So in the picture, I'll just close this picture, and then in the source media, I'll just open this one more. So in the source media, I am giving, so in the media I'm giving minimum width. Let me give this double quotes, and the minimum width is 650 pixels. And then the source set will be some image. So we can just say the image of food will be displayed. And then let's close this, uh, and then we'll create one more source media. So I'll just copy. So if the minimum width is 450 pixels, then the image should be of car. And we'll in this way, after doing this we'll just close this tag. So always specify an image element as the last child element of the picture element. Why? Because the image element is used by the browsers that do not support picture element, or if none of the source tags, so none of the source tags match. If there is uh, based on the display and the device, if none of the source tags match, it will display this image element. So basically when we need to use this particular picture element, so this there are two main purposes for this picture element. The first one is bandwidth. If you have small screen or device, it doesn't necessary to uh, it is not necessary to load a large image file. The browser will use the first source element with the matching attribute values and ignore any of the following elements. And the next main purpose is the format support. Some browsers or devices may not support all the image formats. By using the picture element you can add images in of all formats, and the browser will use the first format it recognizes and ignore any of the following elements. So in this two these are the two main purposes of using the picture element. And also for the uh, depending upon the devices it will show the respective image. So these are the main purposes of this picture element. And the one important note is that the browser will use the first source element with matching attribute values and ignore the other source elements which are after that. So just keep this in mind and add your source media and source set.